Hey guys, it's Levvl's back again to talk about Silent Hill 2 Remake. These are kind of my rough thoughts about the game. The game has been out for about a couple of weeks by the time this video is uploaded, so I feel like enough time has passed that I can, say what I like about the game, what I don't like about it, so on and so forth kind of thing. If you guys are playing Silent Hill 2 as well, comment below on what your favorite part is about the game so far. Just like pick out a favorite part that you have so far. So let's start with story and characters. The story for the most part remains unchanged, at least from what I can tell from the original PS2 version. There are some story beats that are different here and there, but for the most part it's intact. James as a character is a lot more realized in this game. As with all the other characters, he still has that mystery factor from the OG. His character is fleshed out a lot more in this game as opposed to in the original, where it was kind of like a monotone throughout the entire game. I don't know, that's just me, but his character arc in this game is much deeper than it was in the original, and I feel like that's in part due to the performance of the actor. What was his name? Luke Roberts. I mean, I feel like he knocked it out of the park with his performance. We all know that the original actor for James, Guy C, he did a good job in the original as James, but Luke takes it to a whole nother level in this remake, and you can see it in his performance, and I thought that was great. Other characters like Angela and Eddie, their stories are also fleshed out to the point where it's as disturbing as the original, or maybe even more disturbing than the original. Angela with the trauma of her father, and Eddie with him dealing with the fact that he's a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, to say the least. But both of those characters' backstories are taken in a direction that's further detailed than the original, and I appreciated that. I thought that was pretty cool. Laura, they kept her character intact from the original, just a little girl trying to find her friend in this crazy town. And then there's Maria, who I feel like is the driest character in the game. Like, most of her dialogue is kind of like monotone. Do I look like your girlfriend? My name's Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I? I don't know, I feel like that's the point with Maria's character, but the whole time I was with her, I was like, okay, come on, I need to find my wife, and you're not my wife, but I'm stuck with you, so come on. But despite most of her dialogue being monotone, I feel like the actress who played her and Maria still did a good job. All of these actors did a great job in translating or bringing these characters to the modern age through their performance. I thought it was incredible. So let's talk about graphics, the environments, the areas, and the characters themselves. I'll just come out and say it. This game is gorgeous. I mean, it is beautiful. From the beginning overlook area where you first go into the game, to the city itself, and then to the closed environments, all of those areas are so horrifically beautiful. We obviously go to the apartments, and then we eventually make our way to the hospital, which is one of the most iconic areas in Silent Hill as a whole. Every area has their own, character, has their own tone that separates it from the rest. The prison is without a doubt the scariest area in the game. I don't care what anybody says. Bloober Team freaking cooked with the prison. In the original, the prison was the small little area that you explore, and then you find items, and then you get to the next area. But the one in the remake, it's like they took that area from the original game, put it in a mixing bowl, added a shit ton of more ingredients, laid it out on a cookie sheet, cut it up into 4 pieces, put that shit in the oven, and they were like, okay, here's your prison sequence. And it is the scariest thing that I've ever played in my entire life. I am not kidding you. Like, even when I got to the labyrinth part, which I felt was the scariest part of the original game, I was like, labyrinth is okay. It's manageable. It's still scary, but it's manageable. There's also the otherworld sequences, like in the apartments and the hospital. Man, I don't know how they did it, but they made them even scarier this time around. And I'm mentioning mainly the apartments and the hospital when it comes to the otherworld stuff, because everything after the hospital is basically takes place in the otherworld. The prison, the labyrinth, the historical society, all of that takes place in the other world, up until the final part, which is the hotel. You start in the hotel in the other world, but it looks all neat and clean and all that stuff. So the hotel is relatively normal looking until you get to a certain point in the hotel where the walls start peeling, the windows are rusted, basically everything is decaying. And this decaying hotel is actually in the real world, whereas in the previous hotel, the clean and neat one was how James remembered it back in the day. So in a sense, that normal looking hotel was actually in his other world. I think I got that right. So yeah, graphics, phenomenal. Environments, phenomenal. The iconic areas, amazingly redone. And the prison areas were some of the scariest places I've ever been in a video game. Ever. Also, keeping in tune with how the game looks, all the monsters from the original game have returned as well, with some slight variations to a couple of them. You got your lying figures, your mannequins, everybody calls them legs, the bubble-headed nurses, all of them are returning, and some of them have new behaviors. I want to say specifically the mannequins. When you get to the prison area, they turn into these like spider-like creatures, or well, they're still mannequins, but they move around like spiders, so they're more agile, more dangerous, and holy shit, they can jump on you when you're not looking. Also, when you're in the other world, some of these monsters have different behaviors, like let's say the lying figure. Well, all of them are a lot more aggressive, but the lying figure, like once you kill it, it kind of like self-destructs, so you have to dodge it at the last second, which I thought was pretty cool. Also, the mandarins, who are those upside down, they're those hanging monsters that hang on the chain link surfaces when you walk on them. They're more or less the same in the original until you get to, again, the hotel area, where somehow they're able to come above ground, but they're still hanging on the ceiling. I don't know what the explanation is with that. I don't know. I just thought it was a little weird that they're above ground, but I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. And then we've got Big Boy Pyramid Head. Oh my gosh, is this guy scarier this time around. His design is relatively the same from the original. It's just that he is 10 times more aggressive, moves a lot faster. Like I swear, in the sequence in that hospital where you're being chased by Pyramid Head trying to escape, I swear this mother effer was running full speed towards you. I didn't look behind me, but it sounded like he was running, like full on sprinting towards us. That scared the shit out of me. Yeah, to say that he's more intimidating this time around is an understatement, but oh my gosh, does he look so cool. Moving on to the gameplay, it's pretty much your like standard modern shooter-ish type thing, but not shooter-ish because it's survival horror, and it really does feel like survival horror. Like, I hate comparing it to the Resident Evil remakes, but it does kind of feel like that, but not exactly entirely, if that makes sense. You can switch weapons on the fly with the D-pad, and you have this dodge mechanic, which I briefly touched on a little while back. The biggest difference here from the original is the melee combat. You can still select the melee weapon that you want to use, but you no longer have to switch between the melee weapon and the gun in a menu. You can just like hit R2 and it'll automatically do the melee attack, and then after that you can automatically aim your gun and then start shooting the monsters, which I felt that made the action flow a little bit better. It's a lot more fluid, which was great. Mostly all of the previous puzzles that were in the original game also make a return, some of them having a little bit of a twist in how to solve them, which is cool. And then we have some new puzzles, like there was a new puzzle in the hospital where you have to collect 3 bracelets in order to open up a mannequin's hand, or what looks like a mannequin's hand that's holding a key to get to your next destination. So yeah, the new puzzles were greatly appreciated. And we can't forget about this game's incredible sound design and music. The original soundtrack from the PS2 version is already an iconic soundtrack in and of itself, but this new one, Akira Yamaoka, the composer, took all of those tracks to another level of awesome. I can guarantee, for those who play the original, that there will be times when you listen to the music and it'll be like, oh, wow, I remember this from the original. Or, oh wow, this is from the original, but geez, does it sound more epic. And then the sound design of the monsters, like everything sounds so disgusting and gross. And not to mention the radio blasting through your controller every time the monster is by. It's so cool. Also, when you're killing the monsters, you may hear some samples of the sounds that the original monsters made back in the PS2. If you listen closely, you won't have to try hard. I promise you they're there. Oh hey, that was an old sound. Yeah, what else can I say about this game? It's incredible. It's an incredible remake. Bloober Team actually really did a good job with this. Which also, I'm probably one of the few people that didn't bash them when they were announced as the studio to be directing this remake. Everybody was quick to be like, oh man, can they really do it? I hate their previous work. I probably was one of the only people that were like, you know what? Let's give them a shot. Let's see what they can do. Let's see if they can deliver. And holy shit, they delivered big time. So yeah, those are just like some of my thoughts and feelings after I finished the game. I really didn't have much negative thing to say about this, other than I will say that some of the there's some graphical bugs and some stutters that I experienced on the PS5 version. I'm sure that they're fixing the PC version, but other than that, I had a great time with this remake. And I honestly can't wait to see what the future holds for Silent Hill. If it's more of this, then bring it on, man. I'm ready. Well, that's gonna do it for this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Also, subscribe if you like this kind of content. And in the comments below, comment on which Silent Hill you feel they should remake next. Or if you think they should focus on making new games like Silent Hill F. This has been Levvls, and as always, I'll see you next time. I'm out.